they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. We keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamin. So as you're coming in, let me take off these noisy bangles. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live, okay? Hold on, give me a second to get myself together, honey. Please pay attention. Okay, so don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. All right, and as per usual, if you don't like the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Now, hello, Cookie. Anita Harrell is in the house. Claudette. Keisha is here. Shawshana, Darnicia. All right, Nessa G, Mahogany. Noah Daniel is here. Danielle, Sheila. All right. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and all of my moderators and everyone tuned into the Queen. All right, I see you, Buckhorse DC. Ivan is here. Junior Thorpe. Now, let me just say this, because I know how things can get when people start talking about Allie Carter. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all right now. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all right now. If you don't want to hear anyone criticize Allie Carter, if you don't want to hear anyone ask questions about some of the stories she's told, well, then I suggest you exit stage left, because what you're not going to do is come in here trying to go in on the Queen. You're not going to come in here trying to go in on the Queen, okay? Because at the end of the day, I don't have a problem dropping this link and getting you up here so you can voice your grievances, air your disdain or whatever, all right, to my face. Okay, hey, Donna, Nessa G in the house, Faye is here, Andrea. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please go ahead and hit that like button. No, my stay is in the house. All right, Andrew Vesey is here, Jeannie. Okay, so that all been said. Miss Sheila, I see you, beloved. Y'all know I love y'all to life. But we're going to get to the bottom of some things on here, because I have several questions. Hold on, let me fix this camera just a little bit. Okay, so now, Dorada said the Queen said what she said, period, okay? Now, mind you, this isn't my research that I'm about to show you. This is Too Strong's, okay, research. And I think it's very thorough. And we're going to talk about it because I do have some questions, okay? I've already told you some questions that I had previously about, hey, Pierre, some questions that I had previously about Allie Carter's story. Okay, I'm not saying that she's lying about everything. I'm saying that some of the things I know she lied about. One of them is that she's Tupac's daughter. No, she isn't. Second of all, I have questions about other things. And here's the thing. If you are a proponent of truth, then you shouldn't have any problem with people asking questions. That's what you shouldn't have a problem with. Now, I'm going to tell you right here, if Allie is telling the truth about the things that she said, if in fact she is on the run and hiding out and people are chasing her and she's in fear of her life or has been in the past and previously or whatever, well, then she's putting children in danger. according to these receipts that I'm about to show. So let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen, and I want to shout out Too Strong, okay, for this information and for them, you know, talking to people who can give them insight into the goings on. All right, so let's get into it. Oh, and let me just say this also. Gavin Richard, the legal expert, is going to be joining me momentarily to go over this whole Diddy and Cassie situation. For those of you who missed the broadcast from this morning, I gave my breakdown on how I think it's all going with the filings that Mark Agnifilo and Tina Garagos have put in for Diddy. But feel free to go back and watch that if you missed it. It was a good video. And Gavin's going to come on here so we can see if his ideology or his thoughts on it align with mine. Okay, because he's the legal expert. All right, please pay attention.
The entire time she was teaching at the school, when they seen her, they said that Allie on the videos, these viral videos going around, doing those, and the way she was acting at the school is 100% completely different. 100%. So Allie is acting. She's acting. She's a phenomenal actor. A lot of times dancers are actors. This is what she do. She's a professional actress. And she tricking people and got these people following her around and giving her money. Or maybe they got total control over it. And that's why Shelly won't. I don't know yet. We don't know, but we do know that this is not right. All right, so we got another Allie Carter video and her teaching at a school called Sierra Academy of Dance in California, and how Allie took the kids to a dance contest and won because she's that good. And we're going to talk about the owner of the school, Kate, which I have heard nothing but good things about. I cannot 100% vouch for Kate, but I can tell you this. I've heard nothing but really good things about her. And then you might say, well, wait a minute. How, when she was connected with Allie? I'm going to explain what I think, not what I know. But it would be good if we can get Kate to come on here and talk to us herself and explain all these things so we can get all this stuff cleared up. Because if not, just like I know, you got to know that this could like change the whole dynamics of your school and could eventually kind of ruin it. You know what I'm saying? And we don't want that, especially if you just was being naive and trying to help the girl. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be more careful with who you bring into your school, because these parents are really upset. I'm gonna tell you that now, but they're not upset to the point to where they want to dismiss you, because they understand that you have been duped by Allie, because Allie is such a good talker and she's very intelligent. And then what happened is they seen a video where another YouTuber put the pictures of some of the kids on a thumbnail and use them in a video, which we will not do here. When we show these pictures, we will blur out the faces of the kids so that nobody can identify them, because they told me that they were ranging from 8.
Now let me pause right there and say this. That was Allie Carter with some of her alleged students, okay? Their faces were blurred out because those are minors, but that's Allie Carter there. Now, if you're on the run from these elite people that have been chasing you, putting out hits and all this, well, I'm sorry, but that would seem to me to have those children in a dangerous predicament, wouldn't you say? But let's continue.
Ages of 10 to 13 years old, and we do not want to be disrespectful and put anybody else's kids on thumbnails in this situation, because these are not celebrity kids that, you know, people have put out there. These are, you know, regular families with kids that just don't want their kids. I mean, man, listen, if I looked up and saw my kid on a thumbnail and it was talking about this kind of stuff, I wouldn't be so happy about that. Not saying I could do nothing about it, but I mean, but it's just not, it's not a good thing to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Angels. We're going to talk about Allie's bodyguard. We're going to talk about how good of an actor Allie is. And we're going to talk about how intelligent and how good she is, and frame this up. But really the whole purpose of this video, to put people on alert. You know what I'm saying? She traveling and she going back and forth to these schools and teaching. And then when she feel like, okay, my time is up, she out of there. You know what I'm saying? So let's just go down. I got some notes. Let's go down.
Now, let me say this. This has nothing to do with anything, really. It's just an observation that I made. Allie, it's interesting that she claims to be Tupac's daughter, but she looks like Diddy and has Jay-Z's last name. Okay, did y'all notice that? But let's continue.
Now, and talk about that. So we already talked about the fact that the parents did not like their kids were on a thumbnail and in videos in the video that the other YouTuber did. And let's cover the angels real quick. That the angels are whatever, some kind of group of people that support Allie. Obviously, they are supporting her more than what it looks like. Now, I want to say this up front. According to what I was told, and this is all alleged, according to what I was told, Allie does not or did not charge the school to teach. Now, keep in mind that it's been said that she's a phenomenal teacher and a phenomenal dancer and a choreographer. You know what I'm saying? She put together these contests with these kids. And I'm talking about went down there to a contest. It's called Tremaine. It's called Tremaine. It's another part of California, but it's called Tremaine. And this was at a hotel. And I'm going to get back to the hotel thing too. But she goes down there and win all kind of prizes. First place, second place, third place. Like she kicking ass. You know what I'm saying? She winning because the girl is good. Now, as a side note, I want to say that, Allie, look, you that good. Why don't you just stop doing what you're doing and go teach dance? You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. I mean, you already got the roll down if you know what God wants and what he don't want. So, you know, you shouldn't be having dancing like, you know, inappropriate and anything, but teach the kids how to dance and make your money, help the kids and encourage the kids instead of running around here with Shelly, allegedly using up a bunch of dope, you know what I'm saying, getting high, riding around the car from town to town, acting like you're on the run. What are you doing? You need to go home to your mama. Look, I'm not saying move in with her because I heard her. I know she a little rough. You know what I'm saying? I get that part. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that's your mama. You need to make amends with your mama and get away from that woman because she's doing you no good. Got you lying, talking about you was in Russia and all this old crazy mess. You need to cut that out. So anyway, what the Angels group does is they sponsor these kids and they sponsor Allie. So they went to the Hyatt. They stayed at the Hyatt Regency in Orange County from July 27th to the 29th. This is where they was at, you know what I'm saying, doing this contest. And the Angels sponsored it. Not only did they sponsor it, let me tell you what else they did. They was doing the makeup and, you know, doing the hair for the kids. You get that? Grooming kids. You know what I'm saying? Grooming kids is what, in my opinion, is what they was doing. And again, this is all based on my opinion, what they was doing. But the fact that they were there is true because we got the pictures and we got the video and we got the documents to prove that this really did happen. Now, how are you on the run and you run around here doing dance contests in the open, acting like you're on the run? But, you know, we know it's a small town, so not too many people gonna talk. And then you thinking that people don't know, like you thinking the parents don't know what's going on, but they do. You running around here, I'm being chased by Denzel, I'm being chased by Joe Biden and Obama. Oh my gosh, Diddy, Jay-Z, they're all after me. But you in a school teaching dance to kids?
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my
traveling with kids, in hotels with kids, in a 1-bedroom with Shelly, and you 30 years old.
Here's how I went from a broke barista at Starbucks to a multi-millionaire day trader. And this isn't about chasing the next hot stock or...
And you...
In a 1-bedroom with Shelly. Okay, please pay attention. Measure Man says Tupac's daughter. She did charge. She worked as Justice Carter, Poetic Justice, Janet Jackson, and Lucky Tupac. This is sick. Wait a second. Are you implying, Measured Man? Thank you for your insight into the topic, first of all, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Are you saying that at some point she used the alias Justice Carter? Is that what she did? Or is that what you're saying? Because that sounds even more contrived. This absolutely sounds diverse. You say yes. Okay. So I'm sorry. Don't y'all see what's going on here? Okay, don't y'all see what's going on here? Now, according to the lady that claims to be her biological mother, her real name is Tori Outlaw. So calling herself Allie Carter, and then someone said, something about Shelly Founder and Allie and all this craziness. I don't know about that, but I do know that Shelly supposedly worked for CPS at one point. Okay. And I have video, which I'm going to show you all in a minute, where Shelly says that there was people that put out a hit on Allie and were supposed to stab and shoot her. So this is somebody that's around people's kids, traveling with them, having kids taking pictures with them, having kids in their mere presence at all. When they're on the run from these people that have all of this money, power, and privilege that can get things done. And the question is, if these people are really after her, how is she able to get away from them time and time again when she keeps going from one video to the next and she has whole TikTok pages? They can't find her IP address. They can't find or pay private investigators or whomever to find out and track her down. Of course they could. I absolutely believe they could. So with that all being said, either she's lying or she's putting these kids in danger. Take your pick. Either way, it's not good, is all I'm saying. But let's continue. Because some of y'all going to learn today, because some people love to just suffer from cognitive dissonance and believe whatever people say without people showing them any proof. And let me say this, because some people said, oh, well, she talked about the fires. Yeah, she did talk about the fires. She did say something about the fires. She did say something about earthquakes and all that. But guess what? How many times have they had wildfires in California? And how often do they have earthquakes? Okay, I'm sorry. That could just be a lucky guess as far as I'm concerned. But let's continue.
Got the angels paying for this. I bet you didn't charge for the school, because now you can run your little scam and say, oh, I'm not charging. And then your little followers, your little worshipers, she doesn't even ask for money. So slow. Yo, listen, I don't understand. Don't believe this mess. This girl is making money and getting high, and Shelly won't even leave the studio. This woman listen, I'm just telling you what they told me. I'm telling you what they told me. This woman will park in the parking lot and sit out there for hours because she don't want to leave her sight. Because she know if she leave Allie's sight, she might slip up and say something. Now, Marlon said this in another video, that he believed, and we believe, but Marlon said it, that Allie started out as a victim.
We do believe Allie's in trouble. 100% we believe Allie's in trouble. We don't necessarily believe everything Allie's been telling us, simply because her story is very sporadic. And we believe it's sporadic because she's under duress at the hands of Shelly. You met her at what, 14, right? 14. Didn't want to adopt her, though. You met her at 14. And was around her 14 to 19, but she was trafficked at 15, and you adopted her at 19? We are not denouncing the fact that Allie is indeed a victim. What we're worried about is by whom.
Now she's a participant. She like it. The words of Marlon. She don't want to go home no more.
Now, we're not going to say whether or not Allie is under the influence of any kind of drug or not. We don't know. But what we do see in the video is that one of the individuals seems way more at home doing what they're doing than the other person.
She's on drugs, allegedly. She got a girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever that is. Allegedly. You know what I'm saying? She traveling state to state, these people taking care of her. So at this point, she might not want to go back. But we know what's going on and all these different stories. Look, go watch our other videos about how we know she lied. And I promise you this, when you watch the video, you will never see her the same again, her or Shelly, period, point blank. So we talked about the role that the angels play. Let's go down to the to Allie's talent and how she is a phenomenal actor. Now, but I want y'all to notice too, we got a little bit more information that we can really break down and go deeper into, but we're going to do that in a live. But I just want to get this information out there so that people can be on standby. So we found out that Allie is a phenomenal actor. She played some girl named Tiana or something like that in The Princess and the Frog. And I know I might have the name wrong, but I don't care. All you got to do is look it up, or some of y'all might already know she played Tiana and I'm talking about, they say she played that role like 40 going north, and she got it to a T. She also would go into this mimicking a New Orleans cook. So she could change characters. Now, this is what we've been told. Allie is not crazy. Like even I thought. Allie does not have DID, or she does not have this personality stuff. Look, both of them said this. Allie has never changed in character the entire time she was teaching at the school. When they seen her, they said that Allie on the videos, these viral videos are going around, doing those, and the way she was acting at the school is 100% completely different. 100%.
Running, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then I go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then I go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then I go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then I go off. Yeah, yeah.
So Allie is acting. She's acting. She's a phenomenal actor. A lot of times dancers are actors. This is what she do. She's a professional actress. And she tricking people and got these people following her around and give her money. Or maybe they got total control over it. And that's why Shelly won't leave. I don't know yet. We don't know, but we do know that this is not right. Then she pops up. Well, not she pop up. This bodyguard, this so-called bodyguard guy pops up. He the security. He's supposed to be watching over the kids and making sure everybody's safe. And you bring your kids with you while you're protecting a girl that's on a run from elites, that's been in tunnels, that ain't been in, at least she ain't been in the tunnel shooting a video with Jay-Z, like she said. We proved that already in another video. That so-called in the tunnel, first of all, was a park in New York. Just go back and watch our other videos. We talk about this stuff. We broke the timeline down that it would be impossible for Tupac to be her daddy. Tupac ain't her. Why are you telling these dumb lies? And then you saying all this other stuff and you mentioning, all the presidents and all that. If you wasn't really on the run from these people, you would have been caught a long time ago, because it's not that hard for them to find you.
Hi, Clint Kuhns here with Anderson Business Advisors.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop right there because I want to share some stuff. Hold on. Now, and that's what I'm talking about. These elite people with all the money and power and all that, of course they could find her if they really were looking for her. Okay, but hold on. Because here's the thing. Let's go to this video here. Hold on. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I want you all to listen to this, because in this video, she's trying to imply that Tupac is still alive. Okay, this is what I want y'all to pay attention to.
Evidence that I have not released yet. And Tupac, you won't be able to hide from the public if I do. Okay. Anybody that was in my biological family as surrogates, they know damn well what I'm talking about. All of y'all know what I'm talking about. And if something happens to this woman right here, that's the only person that I will ever consider. She is my mother. I know nothing else. So somebody touch my mama, it won't be a Sandra Bland situation. You guys will be seeing us on t-shirts. And I'm down with that because we know where we're going. But if insurance releases insurance, you release everything. And I mean everything. If a song comes on, I'm cleaning out my closet. Everybody knows what that means. So I want to tell you now, I know a lot of shit that I should not know. I haven't even got to the facilities. I haven't even got to things where things are buried. Why do I know cases that were in San Bernardino in 2005 when I was a child? I know a lot of shit that I haven't put off yet because every time I do, you guys see what kind of hell that we get. So like I said, Tupac, you know what I'm talking about, and you won't even be able to hide from your own family. Try me. You know I don't bluff.
So y'all heard that. She was talking straight to Tupac and told him to try her because he knows she don't bluff. Girl, Tupac didn't know you, and Tupac is deceased. Okay, do y'all hear this? And y'all don't think this is crazy? Y'all don't think this is crazy? Hey, Gavin Richard. Hold on for a second, beloved.
How you doing, Queen?
I'm doing great, beloved. Everybody shout out to Gavin. I'm still talking about Allie for a second. Now I want y'all to pay attention. She sounds crazy. Sitting there talking to Tupac like he really knows her, and then like she's gonna expose him. Your own family will know, is what she says. Bottom line is, girl, if Tupac was even alive, how the hell would you know and not his family? Okay, I just want y'all to pay attention. But hold on. Hold on, let me go to this video real quick. Hold on just a second. See if I can pull this up. And while I'm pulling this up, let's have a word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here you go.
And when we not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so with that I've been said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Let me see if this is what I'm looking for here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I want you all to listen to this. This is Allie Carter talking. Okay, I'm going to play this audio.
It's kind of creepy, but
Hold on. Hold on, guys. Gavin, listen, hold on. You all hold on for a second, because what's going on is TikTok is not allowing me to play it on here. Okay, there it is. Okay, now they're letting me play it. Okay, I was about to say, they're saying that it's a trigger warning. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this. And I want you all to listen to what's said in this video and then tell me if Allie is somebody who needs to be around people's kids.
To the live event and the march, Allie signed a DNR, do not resuscitate order, meaning that if anything happened, that she didn't want any life preventative measures taken on her behalf. A lot of people were very disturbed by that, and I need to explain to you the reasoning for that. Allie's enemies do not operate the way average people do. They don't think the same. Because of that, we continually have to think, navigate, and maneuver around them. Weeks prior to the march, money was laid down on her contract to hire somebody to stab her and shoot her on the side of the street in hopes that there would be so much blood and so much chaos that somebody would call 911. An ambulance was set to be sent and dispatched. That would have separated her from me.
Let me stop right there. What in the hell is Shelly talking about? Now, she's saying that Allie signed a DNR, which means do not resuscitate. Do not resuscitate. Basically saying that if something happens to her to where she is dead, don't revive her. Don't bring her back. Let her die. Now, Shelly goes on to say or imply that the reason for this is so that the people who had the bounty on her head would basically just give up and say, okay, well, even if we try to get somebody to kill her, she doesn't even want to live because she doesn't want to be resuscitated. So that's a fail. But she's also saying, and listen to what she's saying. She said it was put out that somebody was paid to come and stab her and shoot her with the hopes that there would be so much blood and that somebody would call 911 and it was set up. What is that noise?
Oh, that's me. That's
okay. Mute your mic, please, beloved. Okay, so basically saying that there would be so much blood and that an ambulance was set to come, okay, and take her to the hospital and they would be able to collect her blood. Now, I'm sorry. Do you all see how that sounds crazy as hell? So here's the thing. Rather than paying somebody to come and stab her and shoot her and hoping that somebody calls 911 and hoping that there's a whole lot of blood, why wouldn't they just pay somebody to come and snatch her up so they can just take the blood themselves? Does this even make sense? But let's continue, okay? Let's continue.
While she was in the ambulance, the plan was to trigger her programming, to make it look like she died, to make it look like she was in a coma. And yes, they do have programming that they can activate to do those things. We've dealt with that in the past. Her enemies were very excited. They were in a frenzy. They were discussing how they were going to divide up her blood once she was taken to the hospital.
They were discussing how they were going to divide up her blood once she was taken to the hospital. Like I said, wouldn't it make more sense just to go and snatch her up and take her off somewhere so they can take as much blood from her as they wanted? Second of all, how the hell does Shelly know all of this? Did the enemies tell her? Where did she get this information from? I have several questions for Shelly, but let's keep listening.
We didn't have too many other options to prevent that. As you'll see in the videos, Allie is in a bulletproof vest. She does have security with her. But a week or so prior to the event, one of the angels suggested a DNR. And as soon as that was said, that put a check in my spirit. I knew that was our only maneuver. I knew that was our best option. So we set about to find somebody a doctor that could see her and sign the DNR for her, and agree to that. Usually they won't do that because of her young age. They usually do it for older people, but they made an exception in this case. A DNR was signed, it was notarized, and that stopped the problem. When you sign a contract, be it a contract for an apartment, be it a wedding certificate, any kind of a contract you sign, those things carry a lot of weight. That works the same in an evil world. When we signed the DNR, we each signed one. When we signed the DNR, that stopped that problem. Whoever put the money down on her contract lost their money, and they lost their ability to attack her in that way. With God's help, we were able to outmaneuver them. And you got to understand, when you're dealing with this depth of evil, when you're dealing with MK Ultra survivors, when you're dealing with trafficking survivors, you must daily hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and then just trust that God's got you for the rest of the time. And that's just a daily reality for a survivor.
Okay, so with that all being said, you mean to tell me that these people got all this money and power and they're so smart and so crafty, but yet Shelly and Allie outmaneuvered them, outthought them, and then figured, oh, you know what? All we got to do is get you to sign a DNR, and then we'll get it notarized, and that'll stop that. Now whoever paid for the hit's going to lose all their cash, and they won't be able to kill you. That makes sense to some of you? That makes sense to any of you? Once in the chat if that makes sense to you. Once in the chat if this makes any sense to you, because I have several questions. Trisha said that makes no damn sense. Of course it doesn't. So signing a DNR, because that's a contract, as Shelly said. So this makes the people that were trying to kill her not be able to do anything all of a sudden. Meanwhile, they'd already paid for the ambulance to show up on the scene in the hopes that somebody would first call 911. What if nobody called 911? What if everybody fled the scene? I'm sorry. Make it all make sense, okay? And here's the thing. If that stopped it and that put a halt to it, why the hell are they still claiming that they're on the run years later? Because that was years ago. All right. Measure Man says, we have several questions, all so nefarious. Don't forget about the barricade in the room with the white witches, and she had to undo the she had to undo the spells. Honey, I didn't even know anything about that. This is all ridiculousness, okay? Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, I'm sorry. Is this what y'all really believe? Is this what y'all really believe? Sheila says, DNR, usually doctor will sign if people has a terminal illness. Right. Okay, this is just all crazy. Hal Bunyan says, Allie trauma profited. I absolutely believe so. Alberta said that was the intent. Okay, so none of that makes any sense. So I'm going to go with Allie is sitting up here telling lies, and Shelly's a liar, and Shelly is a predator, in my opinion. And I also think that she's Allie's lover. And I think that she groomed Allie. And then she says something about Allie being adopted and all the stuff that she went through. Well, why would she supposedly adopt her when she was 19? At this point, she's already an adult. Why didn't she adopt her when she was allegedly going through all this trafficking at the age of 14 and 15, of which she speaks? Y'all see how this makes no sense? Okay, I'm sorry, but some of y'all just be believing anything. And then she's talking about Diddy, Jay-Z, Barack Obama, Biden. Okay, all these people are after her, but yet she's able to get information, Shelly that is able to acquire information and knowledge and facts as to somebody putting a bounty on her head, wanting her to not only be stabbed, but shot too, so that a whole bunch of blood spills and then they can take her to the hospital and divvy up the blood. Here's the question. If they wanted to take her blood and divide it up amongst them, why would they want a bunch of it to be spilt at the scene of the crime? What if she bled to death from being shot and stabbed? Do you all see the foolishness here? The ignorant stories and lies that some of y'all have sat there and fought to believe, and calling the people who are out here telling you the truth and trying to shine a light on the lies have been going in on people like them, like Too Strong. Going in on them as if they have anything to gain, because we all know that those of us who tell the truth get far less views, okay, and get far less favor than the people who tell salacious lies, okay? If I was sitting up here telling lies, I have a whole lot more audience. And so with Too Strong and other truth tellers, the liars are the ones like Lionel B. Y'all gave Lionel B about 1 million views for the lies of Adria English and Lamisha Fuller. Okay, please pay attention. Now, that all being said, let's get Gavin in here. And if you want to watch the rest of Too Strong's video, I'm going to put the link in the chat. You all can go to his channel and finish watching that, because he did a very good job. There is the link right there. Okay, so that all being said.
All right.
Thank you, Gavin, for tuning in, beloved.
Oh, thank you, Queen. I appreciate the offer. Greetings to you and your chat this cold evening. So,
okay, so now just to bring you up to speed, right? I'm going to go. I'm just going to give you a summary of what I talked about on the other broadcast, and then I want to get your expert opinion on this, okay? Because a lot of this stuff. Go ahead.
No, I said let's.
Okay. Yeah, because a lot of this stuff isn't adding up and isn't making any sense. Now I'm going to share my screen because I did a TikTok about this, and I'm going to pull this up, and then I'll let you take it from there and tell what you think about it all.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah Shakur. It looks like the Fed's case against Diddy may actually be paper thin. Let's get into it. Diddy's attorneys Mark Agnifilo and Tina Garagos have filed paperwork saying that the 9 videos that Cassie turned over to the feds of the alleged freak-offs basically show that there was consent, that Cassie not only consented, but that she in fact enjoyed herself and in some cases was even dominant. They're saying that this is exculpatory evidence. Please pay attention. Now, of course, I can't substantiate this because I haven't seen the footage, but they make a hard argument that Cassie was absolutely doing what she wanted to do. Here's the thing. There were supposedly SEX workers involved in this. With that all being said, the question becomes, will they be able to get the SEX workers to come into court and testify? And if so, what will they say? Will they also say that Cassie was a willing participant, or will they say that she was forced or coerced? Okay, they say that on the videos, there's no such proof that there was coercion, that she was threatened or forced to do anything that she didn't want to do. Please pay attention. Another question is, why would Cassie have kept this footage for years? Because they're claiming in the filing that she had this information on her devices for years. They say the feds didn't find this on Diddy. They didn't find it in his possession or in any of his properties. And at the end of the day, they said that destroys the argument where it has been alleged that Diddy kept this information to hold it over Cassie's head. They said that it wasn't even in his possession. It was, in fact, in Cassie's possession. So I'm sorry, but none of this looks good. Now, I'm not saying that Diddy's innocent, because I don't think that he's innocent at all. I believe that he's absolutely guilty of many of the things of which he's been accused. But let us remember, if we're thinking logically, at the end of the day, as a policeman once told me, that it's not what we know, it's what we can prove. Please pay attention. If Cassie is claiming that she was traumatized and she suffered mental anguish and all of these things from Diddy's actions, then keeping video footage in your own possession for years, something that potentially I would think would re-traumatize you, or something that would bring back bad memories and all of that, why would you keep it in your possession? I just have several questions, and I'm sure so will the jurors. Please pay attention. One could suggest that maybe she kept it as evidence because she possibly knew in the future she would be suing Diddy or want criminal charges brought against him. But they'll have to prove that. They'll have to prove that that's why she kept it. You see, the defense is going to use every bit of this information to destroy her credibility upon cross-examination. Please pay attention. Let's also not forget that months ago, the New York Post reported that one of the agents allegedly told them anonymously that they did have video footage of Diddy and others involved in freak-offs, but they could not tell whether or not it was consensual. And let's also not forget that months ago, one of those SEX workers actually turned over a videotape that they had of an encounter with Diddy themselves and another S worker. Now, they admit to flying to Atlanta to engage in the debauchery and even going so far as to go and recruit someone else to engage in it. At no time did they say that they didn't consent. They said that Diddy filmed it and watched what they were doing. So again, this all reeks of consent. Now, I'm not saying that it was, but I'm just saying that's what it all looks like. Okay, so please pay attention and drop me a comment. Let me know what you think. Okay, now, Gavin, before you get started, beloved, let me just address this question on the screen, if I may. So the question is, why did he pay her if that's the case? Well, Diddy didn't want to pay her. That's why they were in negotiations for 6 months. I covered this already. Some of you may not have been following me at the time, but I've covered this case extensively, and a lot of the information, you heard it here first. The reason that Diddy, or that the case was settled within a day, it wasn't because Diddy wanted it to be. He didn't want to settle. It was the insurance companies.
Correct.
It was the insurance. Okay, Gavin, you can explain that to them better than me.
Sure, I can explain that. What if anybody in here? How many of you have been in an auto accident? I have. Queen, I'm guessing you've been in an auto accident before. All right. Well, normally, if you hire an attorney, you're going up against the. When you sue the defendant, you're not only suing the defendant, they are suing their insurance company as well. And typically what happens is that the insurance companies, when you file lawsuits, and I do it as well as an attorney, you're going up with the insurance adjuster to try and get a settlement for your client. Or if you can't reach a settlement, you'll go ahead and file suit, and they'll bring the insurance company will hire an attorney usually to represent their company and the insured. So that's typically what happens. And insurance companies are not, however, like attorneys, because they can settle a case without the authority of the insured. It's not like a lawyer where I have to, whereas me, if I want to settle a case, I have to go to my clients and get authority to do that. Insurance companies can do that automatically. This is the same thing that happened with Michael Jackson in the 90s. Michael and Johnny Cochran was Michael Jackson's lawyer, did not want to settle that case with, I believe the father's name was Chandler. Evan Chandler, I believe was his name. He was a dentist. Did you know he actually wanted, and there was a audio tape that was shown on A Current Affair where he is caught on tape saying that if I get Michael Jackson, I can have anything I want. I can get all of this and that. Now you think about that. Logically, if someone did something so dastardly to your child, there's not enough money in the world that would keep me from putting my hands on him.
Exactly.
I'm just being real. So Michael's insurance company, because Michael was touring at the time, I think he was doing a Dangerous tour, they settled. And he didn't want them to settle, but they settled because they knew the man wanted the money, and just to get the matter over with. It's also happened with Bill Cosby. a few years ago when he was in jail wrongfully, I might add, unjustifiably in Pennsylvania. Janice Dickinson and some other women filed a lawsuit against Bill Cosby. And I think Bill Cosby was whoever his agents were at that time. The insurance company made a settlement with Janice Dickinson. Interesting enough, Queen, did you know she sued Bill Cosby's attorney, Marty Singer, because he was calling her a liar and saying that this was incorrect? And which is a shame, because attorneys, we represent our clients. We can do that.
That's right.
We can defend them and say, no, it's not true. So how could he be sued? And then on top of that, the courts agree with this crap. That was the thing that got me. And we got to be scared. We ought to question the stuff we're seeing, especially now, because when they're attacking lawyers from defending their clients, it's a problem.
Like Tony Budsby. And let me say this too, Gavin. Janice Dickinson, didn't she admit that she lied about Bill Cosby when she wrote that book?
What she admitted, and I spoke, you and we both talked to Tom Mesereau. What she said was she did artistic privilege or something along those lines, is what Tom told me on the witness stand. She admitted that she had exaggerated a lot. She didn't say lie, but I had artistic privilege because she was writing a book. And she said later on that when she was, and I won't say, but attacked by Bill Cosby in the room, she said, I couldn't believe this was America's Dad on top of me. And on top of that, this was in 1982. The Cosby Show wasn't even on at that time. So that was a lie that she stated. So, but Bill Cosby, the insurance company settled for Bill Cosby, and Bill Cosby's rep, and I know him personally, you've had Andrew Wyatt on his show. He said emphatically, we didn't agree to this. And Mr. Cosby and Mrs. Cosby were upset about the settlement going to them, but they had no control over that. So now when we fast forward with Diddy and what is common and what they do with these lawsuits, if you looked at Cassie's lawsuit, you notice she didn't just sue P. Diddy. She sued Bad Boy Records. She sued
every one of the companies that he was tied to.
She sued, Combs Enterprises, LLC, Epic Records, which is Sony, that's owned by Sony, and about 10 what they call dual corporations. So when you have the businesses involved, and especially when Cassie's claiming that she was in this basically a hostile work environment, she's saying, I was signed under his records. I was an employee, essentially, and he created a hostile work environment, which is what she used to trigger the employer-employee liability statute. So the insurance companies, I don't believe P. Diddy paid that personally, but they are the ones that issued that settlement very quickly because they didn't want that to hurt their business, their record companies, because you got Epic Records, which is tied to this, which I said is owned by Sony ATV. So I think Epic Records was Epic was Michael Jackson's record label.
Right.
At one point. Yes. And then it became Sony. And you also got to remember too, Cassie and Diddy were in a relationship for 10 years. So of course, can people be in abusive relationships for that period of time? Absolutely. It's happened. Do I think, it's not saying whether I think P. Diddy is a good guy or not. I necessarily don't think that. But the fact is that when you read the lawsuits, and I've read it in its entirety, all 35 pages of it, it looks like, and Cassie even essentially is admitting from the lawyers, they're trying to say that he gave her all of these quote avenues for success for being an aspiring artist, but in return demand obedience, loyalty, and silence. Who demands your silence? If you're signed to a record label, he's giving you avenues of success to be a great artist. So what it sounds like, especially when you look at it and you say they were together for 10 years, they had let's just say a complicated relationship. And
hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And she was a part. I'm not saying that she wasn't. Obviously, the video that we saw, yes, that was a domestic abuse battery. That was a battery. That was assault. But this fact that these lawyers are now coming out saying what they're saying as to what she was there, a lot of the stuff I'm reading, and it's even in a lawsuit, the things that she named specifically about the oils and so forth, she was a participant.
Now, let me answer some of these questions. Auntie Liz says, the queen is cooking. Smash the like button, please. Thank you, beloved. And thank you for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, Luna has several questions. Luna says, then why did he apologize? Well, him apologizing didn't have anything to do. Hold on. And well, here's the thing. His apology didn't have anything to do with the allegations. He only apologized when the video of the fight came out. That's what he apologized for. As for everything else that was alleged, Diddy has denied all of it emphatically. Now, that doesn't mean that he's telling the truth. I'm just telling you that he hasn't admitted to any of that. Mm-hmm. He had to admit to the fight because we all saw it. So he apologized for the fight. That doesn't have anything to do, how many times must I say it? That doesn't have anything to do with the 9 videos that Cassie turned over to the feds. Another thing Luna wants to know is, why did he need counseling? Well, to know why he needed counseling, you'd have to go ask him specifically. In the apology video, when he spoke about counseling, he said he was in a dark place.
Right.
Again, when he mentioned counseling, it had nothing to do with these other allegations. The apology and the counseling comments was all pertaining to the video from 2016. And here's the thing. That video is prejudicial because it really doesn't have anything to do with these accusations, and there were no charges filed due to that video, and nor can there be any charges filed due to that video because it's past the statute of limitations. Now, here's the bottom line. Some of you are in your feelings, and that's okay, because that's what you're going to learn not to do. Because me and Gavin are talking about this case from a legal perspective. Now, we all know that the queen doesn't like Diddy. I've said it a myriad of times. But we're talking about the legalities of it, okay? Right. So facts over feelings, F your feelings and F my feelings and F Gavin's feelings, quite frankly. It's all about the facts and what they can prove. If they, and here's the thing, they may not even be allowed to enter that video footage of the fight into the court because they could deem it as prejudicial, okay? Now let's continue.
Right. But I will say this, a couple of things as regards to that video when you said prejudicial. Remember, they even used that as part of his bail hearing. The judge was talking about it. So I think that was set up, and that might be also grounds. Hopefully his defense attorneys, and I'm saying it because I'm a defense lawyer, they objected on the record to that because that could possibly be grounds. Let's say Diddy does get convicted.
A mistrial.
Well, a mistrial. Well, not just a mistrial, but if he did get convicted, let's say they could probably use that as a Sixth Amendment issue in an appeals process, possibly. So that might be one thing. And I believe they did try to appeal it to a higher court, the bail. Now,
and let me say something real quick, Gavin, because I did say something about that, and also the fact that it has been alleged that the feds leaked it. Okay, right. And alleged that they've leaked other information to the New York Post. And this is what the New York Post said. Now, of course, the feds denied it. But should the defense be able to prove, that also could be grounds for a mistrial or a jury that's at the very least deadlocked. What would you say about that?
It can very well be grounds for a mistrial. I mean, his attorneys have tried to keep, obviously, to try and throw this case out. They've tried hard. I think that the judge obviously is trying to move this forward because it is a big case. And that's what a lot of these prosecutors now, I've noticed, especially out in New York, like the Jonathan Majors trial, although this is federal court. Donald Trump, of course, is a big one. But this is anytime there's a celebrity, anytime there is a celebrity or a politician, big name that they can use as leverage, they will do that. I feel that, yes, it can be grounds for a mistrial if it comes up, because look, jurors are human. We're all human, and jurors are human beings. And of course, when you ask them during voir dire how you feel about the video, how you feel about this, a lot of them are going to say, I think he did. They can either lie and say, no, I can be fair and partial, but deep down, no, I really want to see this MF hang. That's how a lot of people feel with this stuff. Now, of course, that can be a possibility. We can't, as lawyers, all we can do is our best and just ask questions. And voir dire, if you ever watch the movie My Cousin Vinny, voir dire is a perfect, what they do in there, they show how the prosecutor ask questions to the jurors. Can you be fair? Can you be okay with the death penalty? Those are things the defense lawyers can do as well, and you can strike someone in peremptory challenges, and you can also strike for cause if they show prejudice. I do want to just talk, if I can jump up, because Luna had made a question when I mentioned Bill Cosby earlier. She said, didn't he say he admitted to drugging women? Bill said it himself. No, he did not. Bill Cosby never admitted to drugging anybody. He denied it. He was asked under deposition about a relationship he had with a woman, particular, and he had Quaaludes. Quaaludes, of course, were what they call disco biscuits. You took that to get in the mood. He had a prescription for those for an elbow injury when he played tennis. So they asked him, did he ever give it with women he was going to have sex with? Said yes. And then when they asked, did you give it without their consent? And remember, his deposition was taken over several days. They asked some of the same questions. He said absolutely. He said no. When you give consent, if you willingly take a drug, like let's say marijuana or so forth,
you gave consent to do it.
Yeah, you consented to it. Now,
and let me say something about that. My best friend, we had a whole argument about that because she was like, "Oh, he admitted to it." I said, "No, he didn't." Okay, no. But let me say this. Kwame says you can't force 10 years in the public eye, LOL. And then thank you for your contribution, beloved, and your insight into the topic. Now, Kwame says, can he break down Brady material and the 9 tapes? Okay, Gavin, I'm going to let you take it away. And Kwame, thank you for your insight, your question, and your contribution to the channel, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Yeah, break that down, Gavin.
What is Brady material? Well, Brady is based off an old Supreme Court case. We also say Kyle's because that was a subsequent Supreme Court case in the 90s when if a prosecutor gets any type of information in regards to the investigation of a criminal case, even if it is exculpatory, meaning it can exonerate a person, the defendant, they are obligated by law to turn that over to the defense for their defense. And prosecutors also are obligated, if they have evidence that a case is not supported by probable cause, they cannot move the case forward. That happened, again, and I mentioned in Bill Cosby for a reason, because those cases and what you see with Diddy and Michael Jackson and other celebrities, they're kind of intertwined, because when Bill Cosby got it, subsequently we saw all of these other black male celebrities getting accused of something. Morgan Freeman, Pete Diddy, we saw, I believe, L.A. Reid, a bunch
of... Now, this is all true, but I'll say this. There was white people getting accused too, okay?
There were, but yes, you're correct.
Because I can name Vince McMahon. I can name Peter Nygaard. I could name Michael Jeffries. I mean, the list goes on and on. Jimmy Iovine, okay? Axl Rose.
Right, but
Russell Brand. So let's not talk about the black thing, because I don't want people to get caught up in that, because that's what people love to say. Oh, they getting all the black men. No, there was people, period, getting called out.
The consequences of those were more severe for us.
Well, yeah, that's likely true. That's likely true.
It is.
And Harvey Weinstein and Les Wexner, are they naming them too, and Epstein, of course. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about these tapes. Okay. Let's stay on topic, because people are going to be asking a myriad of questions, and some of these questions are, quite frankly, in my opinion, irrelevant. Let's talk about these 9 tapes, because here's the thing. Diddy's attorney, Gavin, and I read this morning, right? Okay, his attorney filed a 7-page letter to the judge, basically saying that they wanted the videotapes to be given to them, and also to be put on some type of electronic devices or whatever, so it could be showed in the court. Now, the prosecution is basically trying to say they're arguing against it, but Diddy's attorney is asking for it to be given under APO, which is attorney possession only, and that the defendant, Diddy, can only view this while it's in possession of his attorneys. Now, my thing was, if this, and Mark Agnifilo is saying that this is exculpatory evidence. He's saying that, in fact, these videotapes that Cassie turned over herself prove that Diddy was in a consensual relationship when these things occurred with Cassie, that she was not forced, there was no abuse, there was nothing that showed that she was made to do these things. And then the next thing I'll say is, and I believe Mark Agnifilo, he said there was no tunnels, there was no this, there was no that. Now, I'm not saying that those things didn't happen in other instances, But in the case of Cassie and the tapes that she handed over, I believe it, because otherwise, why would Mark Agnifilo be saying that he's going to get somebody to enhance the tape quality, to enhance the audio quality so that it can be presented as evidence? And then one more thing, let me just say, well, go ahead. I'll let you talk about that. But it's a paper. It's information I want to read about one of the male prostitutes who already spoke to the feds. But go ahead.
Well, I would just say this is that a defendant is anytime he's at trial, any evidence that they have, they're required again to turn that over. So they're required to turn that over to his attorney, and he's supposed to go obviously discuss any strategies, any type of materials, any evidence. He has a right to go over. So why they would try to hide that from Diddy doesn't make any sense. I don't know how they can try and get away with that. Obviously his attorneys have seen it. So it probably isn't may not necessarily be a Brady issue if the attorney has it in his possession already and he's looking at it with him. And maybe they're trying to prevent it from being leaked out. Possibly they think that Diddy might be able to look at this from jail, for instance, and leak this out to the public, because they alleged, I remember a few weeks ago, him allegedly trying to contact other people with a phone or so forth that he had there. And I don't know that. But,
and then I called you the other day and I asked you, because Charlemagne the Devil said that Diddy said that he knew, that's what I call him. He said that he knew some people in jail with Diddy. Right. He said that he knew some people who'd been in jail with Diddy and they told him they saw these tapes. And I'm like, how would Diddy even have these tapes to be showing? And I asked you, how could he show it if he even had it? And you said if he had a phone or if somebody else in the jail had a phone. But I don't think Diddy ever even had the tapes. That had to be a lie, because in the paperwork, Mark Agnifilo was asking to be able to have those tapes in his possession under APO, and that the only way Diddy would be allowed to view it is in the company of his attorney. So Diddy would not even have that stuff on his own and be able to show it to anybody. Mm-hmm. Okay, so with that all being said, the filing led me to believe that they've seen it, the defense that is, but that they don't have it, and that the prosecution is trying to keep them from acquiring it. Okay, so the thing is, here's the question. So with these 9 videotapes, do you think that the defense will be able to enter this in as evidence? I would think so.
Well, if the state, here's the thing: if the state has it, the state can introduce it as evidence as well, depending on what depending on what it's being entered in for. So here's the thing: when we enter into evidence, they have to first of all lay either if it's by the prosecution or the defense, they have to lay what's called a foundation with their witness. For instance, they're going to have to be able to prove, number one, the authenticity of those tapes. They're going to have to be able to show where those tapes, meaning when was it recorded, how it was dated, who recorded it, exactly how it was saved, whether it's been altered in any way, shape, or form. And we don't know, number one, because we don't have it, how far we're talking about with these types of tapes and where it came from. So they would have to put someone on a witness stand who had that within his possession. Now, if it's Diddy that would know about it or was recording, let's just say, for instance, and I don't know if it is, then Diddy, remember, he has a Fifth Amendment right not to testify, and that can't be used against him in court. He's a right against self-incrimination. So at either rate, they would have to be able to prove and authenticate where those tapes came from. So if it did, let's say, for instance, came from Cassie, then the defense could possibly, yes, if they could, if this, and I'm hearing she might turn state's, I think she's the one that turns state's evidence. If she's being put on a witness stand by the state, then they would have to lay the foundation of that and show inference how she obtained these videos. And the defense has the right to cross-examine them, cross-examine her about that and authenticity of it, whether she recorded it or not. So there's a lot of questions with that.
And here's the question. Well, I would think that Diddy recorded it because that's what she said, and that's what other people have said. The bottom line is, don't you think that the prosecution or the defense is going to grill her doing cross-examination?
Oh, sure.
And in doing so, they're going to try their very best to destroy her credibility, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's
okay.
Yeah.
So now, if you were the defense, wouldn't you want to know why she kept this evidence of situations that she claims traumatized her, and where she said she was abused and trafficked and all of that? Wouldn't you want to know why she kept this stuff for years on her devices? And mind you, Mark Agnifilo has already said that this debunks her story that's in her lawsuit, where she said that Diddy recorded this stuff to hold over her head. Now, they didn't find this in Diddy's houses when they were raided. Diddy didn't give them this footage. Cassie did. She turned this over to the feds. So the question becomes, it's already looking like she lied, is all I'm saying. I'm not saying she's lied about everything, but hold on. Don't you think that says something about her credibility that would be in favor of the defense? If she's saying Diddy was using stuff, holding it over her head, but yet she's the one who had this stuff and they didn't find it with the Diddy, what do you think about that? Because I have several questions.
It certainly could be, yes, it certainly would. As a defense attorney, I would always want to cross-examine a state's witness and destroy their credibility based off the facts of the case if I had it, and also in defense of my client. And certainly if there was a contradiction that was made where this was in his possession, and I'm not saying there is because I don't know the facts, but presuming that there was, and I got her on the witness stand and caught her basically contradicting herself, then you would want, not for my sake to hear it, but the jury to hear why she lied and why she contradicted herself at this point. And if it comes to the point where they believe that she did this out of money, in spite not justice, and that she had these tapes and so forth to basically hang over someone like Diddy, it would seem like she was not truly a survivor. I'm not knocking her and saying that she isn't, but what I would say is that it seems like she was just basically an extortionist. If that were being the case, that's what a defense attorney would try and use against the witness. And especially, I think she's probably more than likely, from what I'm hearing, going to be one of the star witnesses for the prosecution. That might happen because if they did get these tapes from her possession, like I said, they have to authenticate it, and they can't use, the prosecutors can't get Diddy on a witness stand unless Diddy goes up when his defense attorney tells him.
Well, he's already said he wants to get up there. But now here's the thing. Alberta says, why would he pay if he isn't guilty of it all? She was a child in my book, like all the rest, trying to achieve her dream to get exploded. Well, we already covered that, beloved. We already said that Diddy, it wasn't his idea to pay her. That was the insurance companies. Okay, now with that all being said, please pay attention so you're not asking the same questions that we've already addressed, beloved. Okay, Lisa says, I think she was a willing participant for the most part. And that's exactly how the defense is going to paint her. Okay, I can guarantee it, beloved. And thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. And, they're going to paint her as a willing participant, or possibly, as I have said before, possibly an unindicted co-conspirator, for all we know. And then here's another thing I want to ask you, Gavin. Okay, what do you think about this? And listen to this, okay? And give me your thoughts. Male prostitute turns in alleged videotape of Diddy freak off to the feds. Now, a male prostitute has come forward and provided federal investigators with a videotape allegedly showing showing the rapper Sean Diddy Combs' infamous freak-offs. Now, the S worker met with federal investigators working on the S trafficking case against Diddy in New York on Wednesday. Now, he provided them a copy of a freak-off tape that was made in May of 2023. Now, this one doesn't involve Cassie, okay? I'm just telling you about, this is a whole nother situation because Cassie was done with Diddy in 2018, okay? So, May of 2023. Now, here's what they say. Freak-offs were the hip-hop mogul's sick moniker of the drug-fueled orgies that prosecutors say sometimes lasted days and were rife with sexual abuse, illegal drugs, and trafficked prostitutes, they say. Now, the whistleblower stepped forward and described to investigators how he traveled from Atlanta to Miami for the SEX film, and how when he got there, okay, how he went about finding another escort to engage in the debauchery.
Mm-hmm.
Sources say the freak-off in question involved Diddy, the male prostitute, and a female prostitute. Now, the worker alleges that he and the female engaged in intercourse while Diddy orchestrated the encounter from behind a video camera. Now, this description is in line with allegations made in the indictment, which say Diddy would force his victims to partake in SEX acts while he watched, recorded, and choked his chicken. Now, the male prostitute told the authorities that he kept a copy of Diddy's tape from that night. Now, this copy is now in the hands of federal investigators, according to TMZ. And the gigolo also, not the gigolo, also spilled on Diddy's preferred drugs for the freak-offs. According to outlet sources, the S-worker signed a proffer agreement that will allow him to give testimony to federal investigators without incriminating himself. Now, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo,
so he got
maintains, right. Now, Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, maintains that the freak-offs were merely the behavior of consenting adults engaged in lecherous
activity,
though not illegal behavior, right? And you see, these are consensual adults doing what consensual adults do. You know, we can't get so puritanical in this country to think that somehow SEX is a bad thing, because if it was, there would be no more people. And then they say his lawyer also claims that the 1,000 bottles of baby oil found by federal investigators would have, when they raided Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami homes in March, were a byproduct of the music mogul's shopping at Costco. Well, we already know Costco doesn't sell baby oil. So with that all being said, he further stated that in an interview, he said, "I don't know if I can keep him off the stand." Okay, because Diddy wants to stand in his own, takes a stand in his own defense. Okay, so here's the thing. Now, what do you think about this? Because what I heard, this is what I heard. Now, you let me know what you heard, because sometimes people, you know, things get lost in translation, right? Or we might see it differently. Now, what I heard is that this S-worker flew to Atlanta because he was paid by Diddy, basically, okay, went there, recruited someone else to get in on the action, and then they did the do, and Diddy sat there and watched. At no point did I hear him ever say that he was forced or coerced, or that Diddy made them do anything. What did you hear?
Well, first off, I haven't followed or seen this story other than what you've told me, Queen. But my first question, do we know what his rates were? I mean, all of these. Now, you hit the nail on here when you said this, the sex worker. So sex worker is another, or ex-worker is another term for a male gigolo, right. a gigolo, a prostitute. So essentially, you have someone now. You would have to look at, if he testifies, the state is required, the feds are going to have to turn over to the defense his prison, you know, and I'm sure he's got one, his criminal history, to know what records, what history he's had, particular, if I'm sure being busted for prostitution may have been one thing, but also if he has a history with drugs, if he has a history of, let's say, even perjuring himself, which I can't see probably him. Well, it has happened in the past. They've done that, which is a stretch. But basically, if someone were convicted of falsifying a police report or statement, their credibility really would be shot. So those are questions I would have. Someone said I didn't know Costco didn't sell baby oil. Might have thought
they came out and said they don't. They came out and said they don't.
Might have been Sam's.
Nonetheless, okay.
Yeah, nonetheless.
Now, so with that all being said, though, okay, he was offered a proffer agreement. Okay, so that grants him immunity, but immunity from what? Because what is he going to say? I mean, we don't know, but I'm just wondering, because from that article, he didn't say that he was forced to do anything. And then when the feds are, and here's another thing, I want you to pay attention, Gavin. It leads me to think that Diddy didn't make him or the woman that participated in that instance in May of 2023. It leads me to think that they did this because they wanted to, because they were paid to do so. Because here's why. How did he get that videotape? Diddy was the one recording, according to them. They say Diddy would have people do these things and he would produce it, have a whole production set up, okay? And then he would handle his business while watching, pleasuring himself, and record this. So if Diddy recorded this, how did he get a copy of it? Did he give him a copy? Well, maybe he did. The bottom line is, if it was something incriminating on there, do you think Diddy would have given him a copy, or did he steal a copy? I don't know. What type of device was Diddy recording it on? These are all questions that the defense will likely ask. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And how, it's what I stated earlier, the authenticity of this tape, if it is real and true. How do we know who recorded it? How was it recorded? When date was it? Is it timestamped? Do we know anything about it? Those are all questions a defense attorney would like to ask. You also probably would want to file, if you get a chance to review it, maybe even what's called a motion to eliminate, which is when you try to eliminate, keep prejudicial evidence or information from being heard to a jury that would prejudice your client. And what judges would have to weigh is the probative value versus the prejudicial outcome of allowing certain evidence in. Kind of like, and I keep alluding to this, like if you wanted, like with Bill Cosby had all the accusers and the judge had to weigh, well, we got 20, let's say 26 women, I'll let 19 testify or 10.
Right.
Well, that's something they would have to look at. And here with Diddy, they would have to look at what is the probative value of this video and how was the prejudicial outcome, because we don't know what's on it. Of course, we haven't seen anything like that. But if everything is consensual, whereas the relationship, you look like you're about to say something right quick.
I want to address something in the chat, but first off, let me say this. Cassie said, OG Patrice says, Cassie said in her lawsuit, she had to do drugs in order to partake in the freak offs. Yeah, she did say that. But Cassie also was addicted to drugs and had to get treatment. And her new husband, Alex Fine, allegedly helped her get off of drugs. Now, here's the thing. Cassie can say that she had to do drugs to partake. They're going to have to prove that to the jury. Because did she take drugs because she wanted to take them? Or did she take them because Diddy made her take them? You understand what I'm saying? These are all questions, okay, that the defense is going to want to know.
Just say no.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Gavin.
Back when I was growing up in the 90s, they had a program, Just Say No. You didn't, nobody, if nobody forcing you to do it, you said, I'm just going off of the questions as if I want to partake in a freak off and I got to take drugs, well, guess what? I'm not going to take in your freak off or your drugs. I'm leaving.
Right.
Leave. Yeah, you ain't gotta hang with the crowd, peer pressure. No, I don't like me coming up as a kid, me coming up just to be popular. Yeah, you didn't need drugs for that.
And then here's Demetia says drugs help her to cope with what she was doing. Well, that could be true. Yeah. But again, they're going to have to prove that, beloved. The state is going to have to prove that. See, listen, I need you all, like I told you all earlier this morning when we were going through this scenario and talking about these things, I'm going to need y'all to stop thinking emotionally, okay? And stop thinking about what Cassie's already said only and think objectively, okay? Think objectively and think about what the defense is going to say, because no matter what Cassie says, the defense is going to counter that. The defense is going to come for her, okay, during cross-examination, all right? Yeah. That's what I want y'all to pay attention to. We know what Cassie said, okay? We know her side of the story, but how's that going to hold up in court? What are the jurors going to think, and will she get destroyed upon cross-examination? I can tell you right now, if I was the defense attorney, I would destroy anybody upon cross-examination. That's what I do. I should go to school. I should finish, I should go and get my law degree. That's what I should be doing. I should absolutely get my law degree, because I'm here to tell y'all, at the end of the day, Noah says disassociation. It could have been, but prove it. That's all I'm saying. They're going to have to prove it. Okay? Now, what do you think about all this, Gavin? Because here's the thing. How are they, if, as Cassie says, she was made to take these illegal substances, or she took them because that's the only way she could cope with it or whatever, how would you think the prosecution could prove that, if at all?
They're going to have to be able, and it's probably what their strategy is to show that Diddy was somehow, because if they're arguing he had a criminal enterprise, that he was basically a mob type figure, that he exerted control over people and he used violence or other means in which to coerce others to do something against their will.
Right.
Now, if you have somebody in a tent, now you can be in a relationship with, now he and Cassie were in a relationship for 10 years. You can be in an abusive relationship. You can even be in a toxic relationship. There are people that stay in that. The problem in question is that for all of these instances, they're going to have to show that he actually coerced this woman, coerced Cassie and others to engage in activity without their consent. Either he threatened them physically or put a gun to their head and do it. You know, I've never heard of someone, I mean, it has, very rarely have I had it, but someone putting a gun to your head, telling you to smoke pot. I haven't heard of that one yet, although there have been, I haven't heard that. And
okay, right. Now, hold on, Gavin. Queen Ahmadiyyah A. Shakur, attorney at law.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Student loan debt? You want to go to law school? I'm still paying that off.
Okay, I'm just talking. I'm fine with it because my loans are paid off. But here's the thing. Okay, so with that all being said, another question I have is this. What do you think? Because I'm pretty sure the defense, if they're worth their salt, will bring this up. Okay, so Diddy's former bodyguard. I'm going to bring up two things. What one of Diddy's former people from his group making the band or that show, what they said and what Roger Bonds said. Now, Roger Bonds is Diddy's former bodyguard, right? Now, he told a story where he says that he and Diddy were together somewhere and Diddy accidentally called Cassie butt doubter. Now, it says that during this conversation he was having with Diddy, Diddy was asking him, who do you think I should be with, Cassie or Kim? And then Roger said, well, Kim, because she's like your day one, basically, or whatever, right? But then later, when Roger saw Cassie, he says that Cassie let him know that she heard that conversation because Diddy accidentally called her. And Roger says that Cassie wasn't too thrilled about that or whatever. So if you wanted to get away from him, ma'am, Miss Ventura, why were you bothered by the fact that Roger Bonds told him to choose his other or his ex-lover over you? Wouldn't you ask that if you were the defense? And how do you think that would affect, you know, her credibility as to her saying that she was being coerced and all this other stuff?
It would definitely affect her credibility. Depending on, we know from the relationship, it lasted from, it was 10 years. It was from 2004, 2006 to 2016. So depending on when, I don't know when that conversation took place, if it was near the end or so forth, or was it took place 2 years prior, then it could be certainly a question that I would want to bring up, because then if you have someone basically saying they're no longer interested in you, did you still stay and try to maintain a relationship, or were you staying because you like the luxury of being on the arm of one of the biggest stars in the world? Diddy, you're traveling. Remember, you had one hit song and you're traveling, but you're his girlfriend and you're traveling all around the world with him. You live in luxury mansions. You have limousines. You have people, jets flying all across the world, doing whatever you want. So it makes her, if I were her, an attorney, and I'm asking, yes, everything is on the table. When you're cross-examining somebody, everything is on the table. And,
okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
And certainly, now, if this security guard you mentioned, the bodyguard, is this the same bodyguard, correct me, and you can correct me, that's being sued by this?
No.
Who's
you're talking about Joseph Sherman. No.
Okay.
You're talking about Joseph Sherman, Big Joe. No, that's not him. This is a totally different one. Hold on. Let me address Lisa. Lisa says, to me, you can't be in a relationship for 10 years and claim you were forced to take drugs and have freak-offs. I'm not buying it. That's what some of the jury's going to think too. That's what the jury's going to think too. Some of them. Okay. That's what the defense is going to try to get the jury to think. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Rodney says, imagine Queen being a trial lawyer at ATL. And then DJ Big Six says, the Honorable Judge Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur.
Young Thug could have used you. Probably could have ended his trial sooner.
Let me say this. Y'all are hilarious. But let me say this. In all actuality, you guys, these questions that I'm posing that the defense would ask Cassie, these are the questions that I would ask her if I was Diddy's defense counsel.
Right.
Okay? Right. If I was defending someone accused of these things in the same situation and scenario, these are the questions that I would ask. Okay? So that's all I'm doing is playing angel's advocate. All right? But continue, Gavin, because this is all nefarious.
Well, yeah, I would definitely want to. You definitely want to ask those types of questions. And certainly everything is on the table. You know, a witness can be cross-examined as to their credibility on any question. Of course, there may be some exceptions with that, but you know, for instance, you can't mention if the charge is the nature of a sexual nature. You know, you can't ask the history, for instance, and you know what I mean, but when I'm saying that you can't ask the history of the victim in a case like that. However,
right.
I can ask her questions about, you can ask questions about the veracity of her statements that she's made. So if they bring up, certainly, you know, you knew that he was in a relationship with another woman. Yes, I can ask questions related to that. Well, ma'am, why did you stay such and such? You never asked him to be married. Couldn't you have broken up with him and started on your own without having his money? You're saying you're a successful recording artist. Could you have signed with other record labels outside of Bad Boy, Epic Records, and so forth? So what we're seeing, and I think all of us may be missing the big point. We're seeing the federal government, basically going after rock and roll stars. We're seeing now what we saw in the 80s and 90s with groupies, where people, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, which was all common. Now that's being put in front of a courtroom. What I'm seeing, what Diddy is accused of, I've heard 20 years ago with Hugh Hefner, when they had the shows, like the TV shows like The Girls Next Door, you know, they had him, documentaries with him, with the women he lived around. And I've always asked people, what is the difference between Hefner and Diddy with the stuff that they're doing? Yeah. So, we were praising
the skin tone. Let me ask you this, Gavin. This is what I forgot to bring up. And Gavin, I'm going to really need you the next time you come on here, because you just always do this. Stop saying trigger words. If you hear me saying S work or S assault, that's what you need to say. Okay.
So
now, that all being said, this video is going to already have limited monetization. No problem there. But let's continue. So with that all being said, here's the thing I meant to bring up. So the guy that was on the making of the band, right? Chopper. So he did an interview recently where he alleges that he was in the vehicle with Diddy and Cassie at some point, and that they were fighting, and that Cassie was in the back seat, Diddy was in the front, and Cassie reached up and punched Diddy or something like that. So you don't think the defense is going to bring that up and say, listen, okay, it was an abusive relationship, okay, but at the end of the day, she would put hands on him too. So what I'm saying is this. Now, I want y'all to listen, because some of y'all gonna say, oh, Queen, but he still shouldn't hit her. I'm not saying he should. The point of the matter is, don't you think, Gavin, that the defense would use that also against her and say, well, you know, they were engaging in mutual combat. And if she was so fearful of him, why would she dare to swing on him ever?
Okay. So Chopper this was someone from making the band. I can't remember.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, he was somebody from making the band.
And he got into a fight with Diddy?
No. Let me say that again. He was in the car with Diddy and Cassie.
Okay.
Cassie got into a fight with a Diddy. Okay. He alleges that Cassie hit Diddy. She was in the backseat, I believe, and Diddy was in the front. And he says that she swung and hit him. So my thing is, wouldn't you say, because if I was the defense, I would go in on her for that and say, well, ma'am, if you were so afraid of our clients, Mr. Sean Diddy Combs, why would you be bold enough to hit him?
Well, anything is on, like I said, anything is on the table if she testifies. So with their alleging a RICO against Diddy and alleging all the stuff that he's faced, everything that the witnesses said, and they're obviously going to go through his history and try and make him out to be this terrible, a very terrible person who had this. When here's the thing, you can be a terrible person, but that doesn't mean I'm guilty of murder or anything like that. Now, if you the charges that they're alleging with RICO, they're obviously going to have to use her, and I don't know how great this prosecutor would be, but certain way he's going to have to answer or ask questions as to limited, and it's going to be hard because when she's testifying and she's the ex-girlfriend, all of that stuff is going to come out. So yeah, certainly could use it against him.
And then, like Roddy says, all Diddy needs is one juror to think about it. And Diddy already said that himself, according to reports, that Diddy said all he needs is one, and that's true. And then another thing is, somebody brought up the fight in the hotel lobby. They said that he was kicking and punching. We know what he was doing. We know that. We know that. That really doesn't have anything to do with the case. Because as I said, we don't even know if that's going to be allowed to be entered in as evidence. Okay, they could deem that, the defense could deem that as prejudicial because that had nothing to do with the matter at hand. That's not included in the indictment. Okay, and even though we know Diddy did it, because we all saw him do it, but there was Roger Bonds, and then also, not Roger Bonds, Chopper, but then also some of you are saying Roger Bonds said the same thing, that Cassie was putting hands on him. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's just going to go, it's really going to boil down to Cassie's credibility. Another thing, and that's in my opinion, as it pertains to Cassie, because even all these other people that have said stuff about Diddy, which some of y'all need to pay attention to, because somebody left me this comment on my TikTok video. They said, well, there's other people, you know, who accused him of stuff and they didn't bring and turn in videos to the feds. Well, that's true. But those people filed civil lawsuits as well as Cassie. But those people are not listed in the indictments. There was a 14-page indictment. That's what I'm talking about. And Cassie is labeled in there as victim 1. Okay, we know that's Cassie. So we're talking about the case of Miss Ventura. All right. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so that all being said, yeah, and he was kicking her and all that stuff in the hotel footage that we saw. But other people have said that she was also putting paws on him. And then another thing is, don't you think they'd want to know, Gavin, why when Cassie, I'm going to pull up her lawsuit, but why when Kim Porter passed away, that didn't Cassie go to comfort him? Now, I'm sorry. I would send my condolences to the kids or whatever. But if he did all these things and I was so, you know, traumatized by it and all of that, I don't give a damn who died. I'm not coming to him and offering him any moral support. That's what I'm not going to do. Ninja, you almost took me out. According to the reports, you made me do drugs. According to the reports, you made me have relations with other people that I didn't even want to do it with. So why would I have sympathy and empathy for you? The defense is going to ask all of these tough questions, okay? You all need to stop sitting here acting like it's just going to be a walk in the park. The defense is going to pull out every weapon they have in their arsenal, okay? Because that's what they're paid to do.
Yeah. Well, everything, you know, all of that, like I say again, when she testifies, the door is going to be open to questions about her credibility. So all questions, anything. Now, of course, like I said, there can be objections made. Things are going to come out that she's probably going to be uncomfortable asking, but she's going to have to explain it. That's happened. It happens a lot of times in cases, even the Weinstein case, which we mentioned earlier, when the actress Annabella Sciorra got on there. I remember when she testified, and he was acquitted on this, there were things she was saying about the night in question that didn't make sense, even with the woman he supposedly invited to he supposedly, and I'm careful with my words, I'll just say assaulted, that she still asked him to get an invite to the Oscars and things of that nature. So when we hear things like that, for instance, those are questions that those are questions a defense attorney wants to ask. And if they can't come up with a reasonable answer, then the jury is going to infer from that. And the jury obviously would infer, well, the reason you still do allege all of these this abuse that you happened, man, but yet you were still comfortable in some way staying around all this time. You never went to the police. You never reported it to the district attorney or anyone else. And you were there witnessed it. And supposedly you were recording these things that were going on. So a juror hearing that, especially a reasonably prudent person, reasonably prudent juror, listening to the questions and listening to, especially to the answers that they're giving, if they don't make any sense, well, that defense attorney probably has got a good chance of getting an acquittal or at least a hung jury.
And let me say this. Okay, let me say this too, because there's another report that I also went over, and let me just bring this back up, where Cassie, the cops were called, Diddy and Cassie, cops called after breakup argument. This was in 2016, the same year as that nefarious video in the hotel. That video happened at the hotel in 2016, and this happened August of 2016. Diddy and Cassie have called it quits following an explosive argument that ended with cops rushing to her home. According to sources, they got into a heated argument in a car Wednesday afternoon after Cassie told Diddy she wanted to break up. We're told that Diddy got pissed off and suspicious enough to grab her phone and start scrolling through it. Now, sources say that Diddy jumped out of the car in Beverly Hills, phone in hand, and she took off with the driver. Diddy eventually came home and returned the phone, but then took 2 cars parked outside. Cassie had told her mom about the phone incident before Diddy came home and returned it, and the mom called the cops on him. Cops ended up at Cassie's home, and she explained that she got the phone back, so they left. Now, but not before writing up a domestic incident report. However, we're told that no crime was committed. After the breakup, we're told they've done it before. So who knows? Well, here's the thing. Now, here's what the defense is going to say about this if they bring this up, and I'm sure they will. The defense is going to say, Miss Ventura, your mom called the cops on Sean Diddy Combs in 2016. Yet, you filed a domestic report. Did you follow up on that report? And when the cops came, if you were in fear of your life and you were being forced to take copious amounts of drugs and alcohol and engage in sex acts that you didn't want to engage in, why didn't you tell the cops then?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, say who?
And OG Patrice mentioned something called battered woman syndrome that we have. Battered woman syndrome, and especially in the law, they call it husband and wife, they call it spousal, battered spouse or so forth. In self-defense cases, you can bring up as a defense attorney, and by that I mean if the accused was a victim of abuse of anyone,
and you killed the man, if you killed your abuser,
you can bring up the history. Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be, and sometimes in some cases it doesn't even have to be spousal if you're an abused person. If it's a self-defense case, like what happened with Will Smith down here in New Orleans, the football player that got shot by Cardell Hayes, his lawyers filed the motion to bring up Will Smith's past history. So you can bring those up. But yeah, battered syndrome, don't even have to kill a person, even if it's in self-defense. If you're claiming self-defense and there's a fight, you can bring that up. Now, yes, it is true. There are women who have been in abusive situations that will still stay with the spouse. Absolutely. You know, I had a case last year I had to try where I had a wife who was married to her husband of 20-something years. Now, maybe in those relationships, was she being assaulted every day? No, but there were instances that she alleged abuse. In particular, her husband was arrested on a domestic violence charge and an aggravated assault with a weapon. Now, he was not convicted on those charges, but I still tried to bring that information up to help with her case because she had, especially over this time, she was still in a relationship with him and supposedly put his hands on her. Now, women I've noticed couples will stay married, especially if they have children involved. So even if they are in those types of situations and they're being assaulted or so forth, they will still stay with the man or vice versa, just because for the sake of the kids, they don't want to break up the family. But here what we have with Cassie, and so I'm aware of that. But what I will say is that with Cassie, we do have a couple of factors that are different. Number one, her and Diddy did not have children. They weren't married. Doesn't matter that they weren't married, but it kind of does. So there's no spousal privilege that they can claim. The other thing is that you're talking about a celebrity who is worth the 1.5 was worth at least $2 billion, and someone who, by her, even from reading the lawsuits, and again what I've read, she appeared to actively have participated, and her lawsuit even said that, in some of these parties. Now, you can be, I don't care how much money you have or who you are, you can't get Gavin Richard to bend over for no amount of money.
Okay, now let's not get off topic.
No, I'm not getting off topic, but this is but I'm pointing out what she's saying when we're talking about the battered woman syndrome. We can't,
right.
So we can't now. Yes,
well, the thing is, battered woman syndrome would have to be proven. They'd have to call in a psychologist and all of that. The bottom line is, I'm talking about questions the defense is going to ask. Now, Auntie Leah says, I was so afraid for my life for years. Stop it with the victim blaming. He hit that woman with all his might. Well, Auntie Leah, what does that have to do with anything? Nobody's victim blaming. Again, I keep telling you guys, listen, if this is too much for some of you, tune out and tune back in when you can listen, because nobody's victim blaming. Stop acting like idiots. I'm telling you guys that at the end of the day, these are the questions the defense is going to ask. Now, don't get mad at me, because the defense is going to come with all their might during the cross-examination. That's how it goes. Okay? I'm not victim blaming. Don't say that again. All right? If y'all want to piss me off, go right ahead and do so. We'll see how it turns out. Okay? I'm not victim blaming anyone. I'm telling you the facts. Okay? If I were the defense attorney and it was my client, these are the questions that I would do. These are the tactics that I would use. Okay? Because the defense is they're paid to go in on the accuser. They're paid to destroy the credibility of the accusers. That's what they're paid to do. And so when they come during cross-examination, it's not going to be a walk in the park. Okay, yeah. Nobody's victim blaming. How many times do I have to say it? Diddy needs to go to prison, as far as I'm concerned, if for nothing else, at least what he did to Tupac, as far as I'm concerned. That's my thoughts on it. I'm not going to keep repeating myself, because some numbskulls don't want to listen to what I'm saying. Okay, point blank and serious.
Right, and let me say this. My perspective of it, and I'll say this again, I'm a defense attorney. So when I'm asked questions like this, I think as a defense attorney would, and that's my perspective of it. So I don't represent P. Diddy. Again, and I don't know all the evidence. I don't know other than what we all have been reported, which is what we're doing. We're having a discussion on it. So this is not to attack Cassie or to attack any woman. And look, when you're hearing this stuff, this is not us attacking women, because this is a different situation. You can't see yourself in her shoes. Put yourself, if you have been in a situation where you've been abused or assaulted, my heart goes out to any woman that's happened to. But that's your case. That's not necessarily what this case is. So we all have to look at this from a non-emotional perspective. Just like I try to look at the Donald Trump stuff. There are a lot of people who just can't stand Donald Trump.
Okay, let's not get on Donald Trump. Again, we're getting off topic. I'm trying to wrap this up because we're almost 2 hours in.
Yeah,
but continue.
No, but I just gave that as an example. We can't be emotional with stuff.
Exactly. But that's what's wrong with some Black people. They get in their emotions. And I keep telling y'all, this is an objective perspective. We're not talking about how we feel about Diddy. We're not talking about how we feel about Cassie. We're talking about the legalities of it all. And if you can't deal with the legalities, then leave and come back when you can listen. Because I'm not going to keep repeating myself. Okay? I've already stated my claim, and I don't have to keep defending myself, because at the end of the day, this is my damn channel, and I'll say whatever I want. Period. Now, let me continue. Go ahead, Gavin. Let me read this comment. Terry Hinn said maybe she was too terrified to speak against him and the backlash that she would get from Diddy. Yes, she may have been, and I've said that before a myriad of times. But the bottom line is that is not what the defense is going to care about. Okay. And if that was the case, she's going to have to prove all of that. The state will have to prove all of that. So what I'm talking about is how the defense is going to come to destroy her credibility and as well as the credibility of anyone else that has accusations against Diddy. That's just what it is. Okay. Now y'all can get mad or y'all can get glad. I don't really care. At the end of the day. All right. Stop getting in your emotions, getting all upset, honey. At the end of the day, I didn't say Cassie was nefarious. Diddy absolutely is, as far as I'm concerned. But at the end of the day, these are the things that are going to be asked. And if I was the defense, I'm like I told y'all, I'm asking questions and I'm showing tactics that I would use in my strategy if I were the defense counsel. Because the defense counsel's aim is to win, just like the prosecution's, their whole tactic or their whole strategy is to win as well. And both of them are going to be trying their best to influence the jury on the guilt or innocence of Sean Diddy Combs. And these are the facts. Okay, so take your feelings out of it. Nobody cares about your feelings. Okay, we're talking about facts. And if you don't understand facts over feelings, then just hop out of the chat and come back at another point. Continue, Gavin.
Well, all I was going to say with that aspect, yeah, you took the words out of my mouth with it. We have to, so ultimately, prosecutors, I looked at their case, the bill of information, and their allegations. I've had this conversation with Judge Joe Brown, and because he and I speak almost all the time. And he even said when he heard the prosecutor's press conference, they had more about the baby oil than they did about the RICO and what they're alleging. And that's what I look at, and the bottom line is when we talking about RICO, or we talking about that, do I equate, now, like I said, and Queen said, Diddy might be a bad guy, but do I equate P. Diddy necessarily what he did with Bad Boy Entertainment to the level of John Gotti and the New York Mafia, which is what RICO was about and why it was created. It was to go after the mafia because the mafia was extorting many of the unions and companies and businesses in the United States, like what you saw in Casino. That's why the RICO statute was passed. So, and why those laws were created. So I don't see that from reading the from reading the indictment that they had handed out on Diddy. Now, it's going to be, the trial, I think, will be happening in a couple of months, and it'll be interesting to see who who their witnesses are and what they have to say and so forth. I think that, yes, looking at it, if they were normal times, I would think they would have a difficult case to prove. But I mean, I've seen people now, because and again, it goes to this stuff about feelings. People are caught up. Can a jury look at Adderley's comeback if there were no evidence? Let's say these prosecutors, we know they couldn't prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, but believe, well, I saw that video he did with Cassie. I think he did something, so I'm going to go guilty. Because there are people who, unfortunately, there are jurors who will think that way. Mm-hmm. They think, well, I didn't get you on this, but let me get you on something. And so prosecutors like to throw some of these other charges to make them stick on the wall.
Right. Now, Reggie says, right, this is what the prosecution will do to her. We're discussing the possible line of questioning, and that's to draw your own conclusion. Right. They're both going to lay out their argument, the prosecution and the defense, and they're going to want the jury to come to their own conclusion at the end of the day. And so again, I'm just giving you all the objective perspective. Okay. That's what I'm doing. Now, somebody just said Auntie Leah wasn't talking to me. She was talking to somebody in the chat. Okay. That's all fine. All right. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is, we're not victim blaming, because some of y'all did say that. And some people said that earlier this morning, like, oh, I'm not going to victimize Cassie. Nobody was victimizing Cassie. It was just telling you how it's all going to go. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then somebody tried to go in on me saying, oh, well, just because you studied law or just because you studied doesn't mean you can win the case. I'm not fighting the case. That's what I told them. First of all, how did I even get in here? I'm not fighting the case. I'm just presenting to you, the plausible tactics that would be used. Okay. And telling you what I would do if I were the defense. All right. With that all being said, I'm about to wrap this up. Gavin, do you have any last words, beloved?
No, I want to thank you for allowing me to come on. Thank you to your viewers who have supported me, some who supported the channel. And yeah, please follow me on IG at grich_productions, Legal Eagle LLC.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. Y'all heard what Gavin said. Okay. Like Lisa Jackson says, it's what they can prove. Exactly. Like I told you all this morning. It's not what we know, it's what they can prove. A police officer told me that years ago, like I told y'all this morning. Okay. Reggie says, thanks, Gavin. All right. So that I've been said, listen, I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast. Please hit that like button, like, share, and subscribe. Okay. Dismantle the Department of Education because this ain't it, says Measurement. Hold on, let me read a few more of these comments. Measurement said, child, I don't need most of these comments to be on no jury. So let me ensure I don't do nothing requiring me to need a jury. Okay.
Someone
okay,
asked,
so
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
I think was trying to find my IG handle. I'll put it in the chat if I can.
Okay, beloved. Auntie Liz says, at Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show, I really wasn't projecting the statement to you, Queen. I was speaking to someone in the chat. Okay, beloved, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, honey, for going in. But at the end of the day, like I said, some of them were trying to act like I was victim blaming Cassie earlier. And I had to keep reiterating that that's not the case. Now, y'all know if anybody don't like Diddy, it's me. Okay? Please pay attention, honey. I knew Tupac in real life. I keep telling y'all that. So at the end of the day, I don't give a damn what they send Diddy to prison to. Quite frankly, just send him. That's all I'm saying. I know Gavin doesn't want to hear that. I know Gavin doesn't want to hear that. Okay. But at the end of the day, I want him to go down. And I feel like the prosecution has made a bunch of foolish mistakes, which I have to question. Did they do it on purpose? Are they really that naive? Are they really that, idiotic? I have questions. So at the end of the day, it's just not looking good. And their case is looking thinner and thinner by the day, as far as I'm concerned. All right. That's all I'm saying. And I'm just letting y'all know, don't be surprised if the diddler gets off. And if he in fact does, I'm going to tell y'all right now, y'all going to have to come visit me at the hospital. Y'all going to have to come visit the Queen at the hospital because I promise you I'm going to pass out. But with that all been said, Gavin, go ahead and give them your information. And tell them about your book about Bill Cosby.
Yes. I put my IG handle in the private chat, Queen. So if you want to copy and paste, you could put that.
Okay.
But yes, my book on Bill Cosby, it's on Amazon Kindle. It's called The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby, The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. Essentially what the book is about and you'll learn, and kind of what we were talking about tonight is how the state of Pennsylvania, through their district attorney's office, Montgomery County's DA's office with Kevin Steele, basically was out of political motivation, went after Dr. Bill Cosby, our beloved comedian, entertainer, and icon. And essentially he got railroaded, through the justice system. And he should not have been put in jail the way that it happened, should not have been put in prison at 80 years old. And you'll learn how there's a history behind this and some of the motives that might have driven this part. And a lot of things a lot of people don't know about, especially some of the accusers, because they don't tell you everything. They tell you a bit in piece of the information, but leave some important stuff out, where some of the accusers stories had already been debunked. So you'll hear about that in the book.
Okay, that sounds good. Now you all make sure I've read it and it's excellent. And let me see. There was something else I wanted to ask you, Gavin. Oh, right. So, how is Diddy charged with RICO and he's the only one charged with it?
Well, at this particular, look, they did the same thing with R. Kelly, with RICO, and that is a great point. Why aren't others being charged? I've seen some other people are being sued. Of course, they've added Jay-Z to one lawsuit. I know they've got other bodyguard, the other bodyguards you mentioned that has been sued. Now, they have not been formally indicted. And I believe the reason behind that is because Diddy is still is obviously a celebrity, and he would be the big fish that the prosecutors probably would be looking at and getting into. So that might be, I can't answer. That's the only logical explanation I probably have for that. And Queen, I don't know if you know, are you frozen?
No, I'm just sitting here still listening.
Oh,
I was thinking very hard, but go ahead.
You were sitting so still. Like, is she okay?
I was zoned out because I was thinking about something real hard, but go ahead.
Did he put a hex on you? No, but that is a good question. Judge Joe and I even mentioned something about that. And RICO, on one of those charges, you don't have to necessarily just have multiple individuals. They can name and identify one especially if they're trying to say he's the kingpin, essentially, of this enterprise. So, and here's the thing: are those people that they're saying, if they're alleging he's a kingpin, are they going to be trying to create or get them to testify against him? But I think it's interesting they have it. Of course, any witnesses they're going to have to call, they have to disclose that to the defense. So we'll see what happens. I think the trial is supposed to happen in May or a little bit sooner than that. Yeah,
May the 5th of 2025.
Yeah. So that's not it. January is almost over.
I know. That's going to be here before we know it.
Yeah.
That's going to be here before we know it, folks. Okay? Miss Sheila said the chat done drove the queen. Terry here said I was trying to explain what happened at Auntie Leah. Queen. But each said Queen looked like a mannequin. Y'all, I promise y'all, I was sitting here thinking, what if Diddy's ass gets off and walks out of that courtroom? That's what I was thinking, and I was picturing it. Okay. I'm telling y'all gonna have to come visit me.
I don't think
so please pay attention.
I honestly don't think he's gonna get off.
Well, let's hope not. Let us hope not. Okay. And so that all been said, I love you all to life. Listen, Gavin, thanks again for coming on here with your legal expertise. Saying all the trigger words and got the Queen's video limited monetization. Thank you so much. I'll be waiting for a check from you to make up for it. I'm just joking. But with that all being said, I love you all to life. Okay, so thank you all for tuning in. I will see you all in the morning for your morning wake-up call. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And shout out again to Too Strong for the information and for the very, very thorough investigation that he has done into Ali Carter. All right. And you all can watch the video in its entirety on his channel. Okay. Anyway, love you all to life. And I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the Queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got